Have you ever looked at one of those big bass pictures and thought in your mind, boy, I wish I could catch one of those? Or maybe you've caught a big bass in your life and you'd like to catch more of them. Well, there are a certain set of factors that, if employed while you're fishing, will dramatically increase your chances of catching a big bass. And we're going to show them to you in the next half hour. This is Fox Sports Outdoors.
It's time now for your weekly fishing reports and real-time outdoor news from the Southwest region. This is Fox Sports Outdoors Southwest.
There are a choice few lakes around the United States and even Mexico that hold a lot of really big bass. Lakes like Guntersville in Alabama, Chickamauga in Tennessee, Okeechobee in Florida, Fork, Falcon in Texas, even El Salto over in Mexico. Many bass over 10 pounds caught out of those lakes, and I've been blessed enough in my lifetime to catch my share. I've got somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 pound or more bass in my lifetime, including one big one caught just almost exactly 1 year ago. And it was near here. Welcome in. We're at Lake Murray in southern Oklahoma today. Now, this is not traditionally known as a giant bass lake, although there have been 3 bass over 12 pounds caught out of this lake just this spring. We're going to use Murray as a demonstration stage to show you some of the keys, some of the techniques, factors that you can employ that will increase your chances of catching a big largemouth bass on your next trip out. And while we're doing that, we're going to take you around the region for your local and latest fishing reports for this week. Right now, it all gets started at the FSN Studios with your weekend planner.
The Salooner tables are offering fantastic news for weekend anglers. Saturday is forecast to have good game fish activity, and Sunday looks to have some of the best action of the month, with peak daylight hours starting in the morning. Expect the sun to rise at 6:28 and set at 8:20, and night skies will be dark with a new moon on Sunday. We're coming right back with all the latest freshwater and coastal fishing information from around the area. Plus, current Bassmaster Classic champion Casey Ashley joins us for this week's Ask the Pro feature.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Tracker Boats. It's more than just a boat, it's a tracker. By Costa Sunglasses, see what's out there. By Mercury Marine, official outboard of Fox Sports Outdoors. And by Lowrance Electronics, find, navigate, dominate.
Oh boy, I slammed him. Good one. Good one. All right, got him. Hey, oh, and the jig popped right out of his mouth. Oh, that was fortunate. All right, hey, welcome back everybody. We are talking big fish fishing today. And I didn't know if we'd catch a good one today or not, but that gets us started right there. That's no giant or anything, but it's certainly a really good quality fish. And that's what we're talking about right there. So let's let this fish go back right here. We'll watch him swim away in this clear water. Good largemouth. When you get ready to go fishing and you really want to catch a big fish, it all begins in your mind. They definitely will bite differently than smaller fish will. So you have to decide to ignore all the places where the small fish live. You have to ignore all the lures and the tackle, the techniques that work on small fish, and you have to concentrate just on trying to catch a big one. Here's the downside to that. You could fish all day and never get a bite. You could fish all day and only get 2 bites. However, the one strike you get could be your personal best bass of a lifetime. So it's very different, and really it all begins with offshore fishing, and I'm going to talk some more about that. That fish came off of a roadbed. It's just a rock structure, a rock roadbed that leads and falls right off into the lake. You have to decide that you're not going to pay any attention to those guys that are all up next to the shore and they're catching fish, and you get all excited and you leave your spot. Catching a big one begins in the mind. Let's get you some local fishing reports right now.
Man, we've got great fishing reports coming in from all across the state. A lot of it has to do with the time of year. This is just a great time of year to be fishing, and that's true throughout the entire Fox Sports outdoor region. Here in Oklahoma, we have a number of lakes that continue to benefit from the recent rains. Two in particular, Sardis and McGee Creek, have been above or around normal for the past several weeks. That's made for a great shallow water bass spike. I had a good long phone visit with Chuck Justice, a well-known angler and guide in those areas. He was just coming off McGee Creek. He said it's probably been the best spring fishing ever on that lake, and that's a lot coming from Chuck because he spent a lot of years on that body of water. Now, he said most of the bass in McGee Creek have spawned, perhaps still in the main lake area, the protected coast, some spawning going on there, but as far as the creeks, he thinks they're pretty well done, but he's still fishing in the creeks. He said those fish are starting to come back in and really feed up now. Concentrating shallow, 2 to 5 feet of water, no deeper than 8. Over at Sardis, he's looking for the standing timber that has the willow grass around it, still fishing shallow. Both lakes, and this year he's caught the majority of his fish, many fish over 8 pounds, 3 over 10 in just the last few weeks, all on the same lure, the LaRue Rattling Crawler. He likes his bait a lot because of the profile of the body. Also, the big flat paddles on the back really disturb a lot of water when that water has a dingy color to it, which those lakes do at this time. Also, these lures have a glass rattle that come in it already in place. It makes a lot of noise. And he said in Sardis in particular, he likes his lure because he can pitch around those trees, shake it, rattle around the bottom of the trees, then pick it back up, swim it back across the top and through the grass. They'll hit it just like they will a frog, but it's better because he thinks the rattle makes a difference for that top water bite as well. Even Chuck Justice knows you can't catch him if you don't go.
There's one. Come up, here he comes. Smalley. Smalley. Calm down. All right. Now, I didn't promise you that we were going to catch all big fish or anything like that today. I said that we were going to talk about catching big fish. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Let me get this big square bill crankbait out of this little Smalley's mouth right there. We'll show you all the baits at the end. There's a good fish for you right there. Real bright colored smallmouth. Put that one back. Here's the deal. To increase your odds of catching a big bass, you need to get offshore. Now notice I didn't say deep. I said offshore. Most people think that when you're off the shore, you're gonna have to be fishing in deep water. That's not true. That one was on a little underwater ridge, and that crankbait only runs about maybe 4 or 5 feet deep, something like that, even though you can see I'm nowhere near the shore out here. I want to show you a couple of other fish. Just a year ago, I caught 2 of the biggest bass I've caught in my life, both of them offshore. The first one was a fish that went almost 10 pounds at Lake Fork. I caught it on a big plastic lizard throwing out off the end of a point. In fact, I was kind of up on the point casting out towards open water. And then huge bass up at Arbuckle Lake, just north of here, about a year ago, and I was in the mouth of a cove. It was a little flat, the mouth of a cove. This bass, when I finally got it in the boat, weighed 11 pounds and 3 ounces, and certainly is in the top 5 biggest bass I've ever caught in my life. All of these fish caught offshore, not casting up against the banks. Underwater humps, underwater ridges, underwater points, those are the type spots offshore where you have your best chance of catching a huge bass. And those are some of those big ones that I've been fortunate enough to catch that illustrate the point. Every one of the big fish that I've ever caught has been nowhere near the shoreline. Key point if you're gonna catch your personal best bass. Time now for more fishing reports.
Hi folks, this week's Lone Star Lakes is brought to you by Signature Properties, specializing in lakeside lifestyle and ranch properties. Whether you're looking for a vacation home, retirement location, or a ranch in Texas, check out Signature Properties. After all, your home is special, shouldn't your agent be? Now, we're here at Lake Tawakoni where the hybrid fishing is fantastic. You'll find them off the main lake points and over the humps. You can catch them on large half-ounce jig heads and a plastic swim bait body. If you want to catch sand bass, use a little bit smaller bait in those same locations. Bass here on Tawakoni are in the post-spawn mode. They're off on the first break from the shallows where they spawn, and you'll catch them on either A-rigs or Carolina rigs. And finally, catfish on Tawakoni are using the pointed timber edges in about 8 to 10 feet of water. Use your prepared catfish baits for those. And down at Amistad, we're seeing a great post-spawn bite on jerk baits, either soft plastic or hard, along the grass lines for your bigger bass. That's this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you by Signature Properties. Now let's check in with Mr. Bill Olson. He's on the coast.
Hi folks, this week's report is brought to you by Port Aransas on Mustang Island, the fishing capital of Texas, where anglers enjoy pristine bays, estuaries, 18 miles of surf, and the deep blue waters of the Gulf of Mexico. Plus the local restaurants will even cook your catch come sundown. Come fish and play Texas Island style. For more information, visit portaransas.org. Well, anglers fishing on Sabine and Galveston can still play a wider range of water temperatures. Cool in the morning and warm during the day. Those wading or drifting should fish from the shoreline out until they find fish. Now on the middle and lower coast, warm, mild temperatures means it is topwater time until your arm falls off. Play the tides on back lake areas and drains. Along grassy shorelines, determine the lure cadence will be the big question. Once you find that cadence, fish should be aggressive. This week, watch for any day when the surf is flat and green to the beach. Topwater lures and soft plastics are good go-to options. Anglers fishing the upper Laguna Madre are catching fish. To do so, they're using bright colored soft plastics in chartreuse and glow, or early and late, use dark colored bodies with chartreuse tails. Fish them under a mauler or rattling float. The Texas jetties remain a good option as both bait and game fish continue to move into bay areas. Free-lining live shrimp or finger mullet are good options. Soft plastics on 1/4 ounce jig heads can be worked down the granite rocks. Either side of all passes are also good options. San Luis Pass, Pass Cavallo, or Cedar Bayou provide a good exchange of water and connections to the Gulf. Work shorelines from these passes until you find your fish. Look for grassy areas or scattered shell. This weekend, both Saturday and Sunday have a double tide schedule of 2 high and 2 low tides each day. I'm Bill Olson, and I'll see you on the coast.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day. By Luz, setting a new standard of fishing performance. Feel the difference. By Gene LaRue and Bobby Garland Lures. With our baits, a good day of fishing is in the bag. And by Stren Fishing Lines, the standard of dependability.
Smallmouth. Not a bad fish right there. It's not a giant or anything, but that gives you a look at what a beautiful Lake Murray gold smallmouth looks like. And back he goes. And he gave one more little jump. Hey, let's talk next about the tackle, the gear you're gonna need if you want to catch a big bass. Specialized tackle. This is really important. You need to have big stuff. You need a big, heavy action rod. Now, this is the brand new Luz Custom Speed Stick Series rods, and they're identifiable by the white toward the bottom half of the rod, but they are a stout rod, and this particular one is the Magnum Bass Rod 1. It's a 7.5 foot. You want a big, long rod. It's a 7.5 foot heavy action rod. Bait cast reel. That's the Luz BB1 Pro Series reels, and I also use the BB2s as well. But heavy gears, something you can fight a big fish with. Big line, 17 to 20 pound, either Stren Original in the clear color or Stren Fluorocast. One of those two lines, 17 or 20 pound, is what I use every single time. You need to be prepared to catch a big fish with this kind of tackle. Hey, I want to show you one more quick thing. I mentioned that we went over to Arbuckle and did a little fishing just north of here. The fishing was not as good as it was here, but my brother, Terry Stokes, who's an attorney in Oklahoma City, runs camera for us. So normally he's on the other side of the camera, but he hooked a nice fish. He caught it on a big football head jig. Again, big tackle, and congratulations to my brother Terry on a really nice bass. Okay, it's time to get you some more fishing and lake reports from lakes, rivers, and bays right in your backyard.
Hey friends, Captain Kevin Broussard here with your Fox Sports Louisiana Outdoor Report. I'm talking saltwater fishing. Today I'm going to be mainly talking about Calcasieu Lake. With all the fresh water and the rains we've had, the water's a little bit off color. I tell you what, fishing's actually pretty tough on Calcasieu right now. These fish right here came from 2 boats today. They were caught on soft plastics, Kelly Wigglers on 1/8 and 1/4 ounce jig heads. We were drifting the reefs and fishing basically dirty water. There's plenty of trout and redfish out there to be caught. You just got to get the water to straighten up. Right now, we're going to turn it over to Cajun Phil and see what's going on the bass scene.
It has been a much better week this week than we've seen in a long time. I can actually say that the Calcasieu River is starting to clear up a little bit. Wow, I haven't said that in months. As far as Toledo Bend goes, Joe Johnston said, yes, the water's high, but he's catching big fish. Another 9-pounder come off this week. Almost every week there's been close to double-digit fish coming from Toledo Bend. A good friend of ours, Charlie McGee, had a little tournament up there. They fished the 12-15 area, which is north of the bridge. Their 5 best fish weighed 28 pounds. He had an 8.5 pounder on there. They were Carolina rigging humps and ridges. So friends, the water's clearing up, fish is picking up. Whether you want saltwater fishing, freshwater fishing, contact old Cajun Phil. I'll tell you where it's happening and where it's not happening.
Got him. Smallie, I think. Yeah, smallmouth. Nice smallmouth. Yeah, how about that? There's what you can do on Lake Murray. Great population of smallmouth bass here and at Arbuckle both. So there's a good look at one right there. We're gonna let that fish go back. And 2 other things about fishing for a big fish. First of all, slow down. You've got to really have a methodical, patient presentation, and you need to fish the area that you're fishing very thoroughly. A lot of times a big fish won't bite the first time that lure swims past, but a slow, methodic, patient presentation will trigger a strike many times. And then finally, most big fish are lost at the boat when people are horsing that fish. Take your time, be patient, fight the fish out while you have some line between you and him, while you have some stretch in your rod, stretch in your line, and don't just immediately crank that fish right to the end of your rod tip. He has leverage against you. He'll either break your line, rip the hook out of his mouth. Lots of bad things can happen. Be very patient and keep a net in the boat handy with you as well.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Exide AGM Marine Batteries. Starts like new, stays like new longer. By Motor Guide Trolling Motors. Introducing the XI5 for ultimate boat control. By Fort Worth Nissan. Fox Sports Outdoors is powered by Fort Worth Nissan. And by Nitro Performance Fishing Boats. Champions aren't born, they're made.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for the Ask the Pro feature where viewers get insider tips from top anglers. This week's question is from Alan, who asks, what is the best way to catch bass after the spawn? For the answer, we checked with 2015 Bassmaster Classic champion, Casey Ashley.
For the first couple of days after fish come off the bed, they're really lethargic. You know, after that, they're ready to eat. I mean, they've been there guarding, they hadn't eaten for a while. So it takes them a while to get over, you know, they've worked hard to do all that. Eventually, they've got to eat. It's just, they're very fickle that time of year, not necessarily on they're just not wanting to bite. They're particular about what they want to bite. So you have to be really key on, you know, matching the hatch or whatever you're throwing. A lot of times you have to be real subtle, you know, like use light lines, small baits and stuff like that. But it doesn't take them very long to where they're ready to feed again.
Thanks, Casey. If you need help from one of the pros, visit foxsportsoutdoors.com and follow the Ask the Pro link to submit a question. Now let's see who wins a new pair of sunglasses on the Costa Catch of the Week.
This week's winner in the Costa Catch of the Week contest wins a free pair of Costa sunglasses. He is David Holly of Arlington, Texas, showing a 9-pound, 1-ounce largemouth bass he caught at Lake Grapevine in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex in Texas. And as an added bonus, these are not winners, but here are some other big fish sent to us also from Lake Grapevine, including an 8.5-pound largemouth bass by Ray Hinojosa, an 8-pound largemouth by Glenn Brooks. Daniel Craig caught a 5-pound largemouth bass. And Brandon Tips caught a 30-pound catfish. If you'd like to be our next winner, just go to our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com, click on the Costa Catch of the Week area, send us your big fish photo. You might be our next winner. And you can see all of the Costa frame and lens styles by going back to the front page of our website and clicking on the Costa logo. It'll take you to their website where you can see everything all in one place, including the frame style that I was wearing on this week's episode called Rockport. Next up on the Academy Right Stuff, you need some specialized fishing lures if you're going to increase your chances of a big largemouth bass. Here are some of my favorites. I've caught big bass on every one of these. Beginning at the top left, that is a lipless rattling crankbait, but it's a big size, 3/4 ounce. Below that is a square bill crankbait, and you can see it's a large size as well. On top in the middle is a 10X crankbait. That's a crankbait that runs up to 20 feet deep. Below that is a swim bait. And again, it's a big one. It's got a 1-ounce lead head inside of it. Then further to the right, that is a Jean LaRue Biffle O lizard, big size, big and bulky. Further to the right, that's a Jean LaRue El Salto Grande 10-inch long plastic worm. And then further to the right is a football jig, a rubber leg jig with a football head. Last spring, my church did a message series entitled Control Freak. It was all about how hard many of us, including myself, try to manipulate and control the circumstances around us. Everything from our jobs to our kids, our family, our image, our reputation, our destiny. We try to manipulate everything. The fact of the matter is, we can control very few things. Most things are actually way beyond our control. Some of the greatest peace I've enjoyed the older I've gotten in my life is when I finally released many of those things that are out of my control to a creator who can control them. It finally gets you to a place where you can just relax, enjoy life more, and work on doing the few small things you can do about the few things you can control. Everybody gets to choose. I hope you enjoyed our trip today to beautiful Murray Lake, just south of Ardmore, Oklahoma. And we also showed you a fish or two from Arbuckle Lake, which is located just north of Ardmore near the town of Davis. Don't forget to join us for next week's episode. We'll be on Thursday at our normal time of 10:30 p.m. with the repeat airing Saturday morning at 7:30. You can always catch our latest episode on the front page of our website, foxsportsoutdoors.com. You can also see all of our past episodes, some product videos, and how-to videos, everything you won't see on the TV show. Right on that front page, click on the past episodes and more video here link, and it'll get you right there. Also, don't forget to join us on Twitter. Follow our feed to win some great prizes and see all the most recent fish pictures and videos. And you can also click the like button on our Facebook page. You'll get all that same information. From Lake Murray, Oklahoma, until next week, I'm Barry Stokes. Be safe, have fun. Bye-bye, y'all.